You see, democracy seems to be in trouble in this country because of everything that is happening with the opposition.
Hell.
And right now, the major opposition party in the country, the ADC, has been thrown into crisis.
Yeah, maybe one.
And everybody is calling out the ruling party and INEC for their role in the madness.
I got the advice from a madman.
But there are a group of people that have allowed themselves to be used as instruments to destabilize opposition in this country.
Hell.
And nobody is talking about them. And I'm talking about the Nigerian courts. Because in every functional society, the job of the court is to interpret the law for everyone to understand. But in this country, the Nigerian courts has become the biggest author of confusion.
Yeah, maybe one.
If you have followed politics in this country, and you study how the main opposition elements have been thrown into crisis, you will identify that they all follow the same pattern.
Hell.
From the Labour Party to the PDP to the NNPP and now to the ADC. And you will also see that the hand of the judiciary is in all of them.
God will see us.
So how does the Nigerian state throw the opposition into crisis? The same pattern. Step number 1. The opposition will conduct a national convention and produce leadership. Then step number 2. A faction will just come out from nowhere, claiming that the people that won the leadership did not follow due process.
Hell.
Then step number 3. The faction will go to court to get a declaration or an injunction. Then step number 4. The court will now deliver a confusing declaration, mostly in Latin.
What?
The court will tell the two factions to maintain status quo ante bellum.
Hey!
Now, what is status quo ante bellum? The two factions cannot interpret it. Even INEC will pretend to be confused, and the crisis will escalate.
Yeah, maybe one.
And that is the same pattern that we are noticing in the ADC. Because in July of last year, the ADC held their national convention that produced David Mark as the national leader. That process was, overseen by INEC, and his name and his ESCOs were recorded in the INEC server. Then, in September, a former deputy chairman of the party went to court to challenge the outcome of that convention.
For what? Why?
Then, the legal team of the ADC went on appeal to mount a challenge against the former national chairman.
Hell.
Then what did the appeal court do? The appeal court threw away the appeal and told the two factions to maintain status quo ante bellum.
What be this? What be?
Now, in plain English, status quo ante bellum means the position of things before the crisis.
Hell.
But now the confusion is, what is the position of things before the crisis? No one can explain.
You don't know.
Now, David Mark faction is saying, we have conducted national convention and we have emerged as the leaders. Our name has been recognized by INEC before these people went to court, which is where the crisis started. So the status quo ante bellum means we should remain in charge while this case is ongoing.
Okay.
The other faction is saying the status quo ante bellum means the way things were before the convention.
Hell.
And what did INEC do? INEC now announced that they are not recognizing either faction 1 or faction 2, leaving the ADC with no leadership.
Yeah!
And this has further added to the confusion, because even INEC has created a new status quo ante bellum. Because there was never a time that the ADC did not have a national leadership, but now INEC has created one.
God have mercy upon us.
And then you begin to ask yourself, why can't the Nigerian court make a declaration in clear and simple English that will not confuse anybody? Why can't the Nigerian court say something like, David Mark remains the leader of ADC pending the outcome of the suit filed by Mr. So and so. his role as national chairman will be limited to so and so. Or they can announce that the leadership of the party before the July convention should remain in temporal charge, pending the outcome of the suit filed by so and so. And in this case, I will understand it. You will understand it. The factions involved will understand it. INEC will no longer pretend to be confused. And then the party can continue to run while the case continues in court. But no, they will always create a layer of confusion that would increase the crisis.
Funny people.
This is the same pattern that we have noticed throughout the last few years. It was why Labour Party were going into a major election, and then they had two factions of leaderships, Apapa and Abure, because torn NMPP into shreds that has forced Kwankwaso to leave the party for them. And now with ADC, we are at it again. And it leaves you to start asking, is it that the Nigerian court is compromised, or is it that they are just incompetent?
That is not corruption.
For a country that our official language is English, our court will be making declaration with Latin. Status quo ante bellum. Confusing everybody. Can it not come to here? Hey,